drinks are like buffs you can buy with coins. It's a gigantic addition to the game. Have you wondered which drink to buy over the others? Well, here is a tier list ranking all the drinks or beverages. Let's get right into it. Keep in mind that this is just my opinion. If you disagree, that's all fine. Just leave your thoughts on the comment section down below. Also, join my Discord server, link in the description. Currently, there's only 2 ways to get a drink. Either you buy it from the bartender in the exclamation mark room, or you buy it in the vending machine in the starting lobby. And there's currently 8 types of drinks: Bloody Mary, milk, tea, wine, coconut water, coffee, orange juice, and amnesia potion. Each bring different effects upon purchase. Now, heading on to the tier list. This is sort of a stretch, but I'm placing amnesia potion in the very situational spot. That means it's basically not on the tier list, but it could still be useful. Amnesia potion allows you to forget the last buff you have learned from the buff choose menu. Does that sound kind of familiar to you? It's basically a one-time, one-use scammer that costs just a bit more, so I don't know why you would choose this over the scammer, other than you drank something. Same logic with the scammer. You basically want to forget the buff you have learned that is not fitting for your character or your weapons. It's useful sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just useless. Well, it's very situational. Also, this is the only drink that you're not able to get in the vending machine in the starting lobby. Since technically you haven't learned a buff before you start the game, so it's not available. You can't forget your own passive buff. With amnesia potion out of the way, let's get into the actual tier list. So first, we have tier C. Why I'm not starting with tier F is that all of the drinks are helpful. None of them are actually not helpful or not as helpful. All of them are extremely helpful. But coming at our last place, which is 7th place, we got the poor old orange juice. Not saying orange juice is bad, it adds 40 additional max mana to your characters. And that is a very little amount to make it as useful as all the other drinks. If you're using a super high cost weapon like the infamous minigun, you're still gonna watch out for your mana. You can't spend it all you want. And if you're in badass mode or just have a weapon that's not that much cost expensive, it's basically useless. 200, even 180, 130 is enough mana to last you throughout the entire run, so I really don't see the point here. If you see orange juice on a bartender's shop, if you're in badass mode, just buy it because you got a lot of coins. If you're in normal mode and you're struggling on coins, I would say just save your coins for something better. You can buy a freaking health pot with all that money. Also, don't even bother to grind a orange juice in the lobby. It's just not worth it. Getting anything else than an orange juice in the lobby is better for you in every single way. So I would say, if you see an orange juice, just reset the game and, get another drink. Still in the C tier, we've got our number 6th place. It's coffee. Coffee is very unnoticeable. Coffee adds 8% to your attack speed. That's barely noticeable. Like, most weapons are already, decently fast. They have like a, 0.1 second attack cooldown or something. And 8%? Are you serious? That is barely noticeable. I have never noticed anything unfamiliar when I'm using the coffee. It's definitely still nice to get. I think it adds just a little bit more damage per second to your weapons, but I just can't notice it all the time. So you're better off going with Bloody Mary or going with other damage weapons and stuff. If you really want coffee, I have nothing against that, but it's just isn't that useful. There are no circumstances where I find coffee as a necessary. Although it could be a nice addition to have when you're using Berserker or other stuff, or Knight, or all the DPS heroes, or you want to buff up some of the lower DPS heroes, but I would just say why bother with this when you have Bloody Mary to crit more and inflict more elemental buffs. We're gonna get on to a, Bloody Mary later, but, coffee, so nice thing to have, better than orange juice, not really that practical. It looks cool, I guess, since I drank coffee in Soul Nights. That's all I'm gonna say, so let's get on to the tier list. And now on to the fantastic B tier. So anything above B tier or is in the B tier, you should definitely buy them if you see them. And I would argue it's actually pretty good if you start the round with these drinks. So let's get right into them, starting with number 5, wine. Wine adds 2 health to your character. It's the same for everyone, and it's always 2 health. It doesn't matter if you have the more effective potions buff or not. It's basically a less overpowered health buff. 2 health is actually quite important for some characters. It can do as a backup safety net for the characters such as Paladin or even Rogue, since they have such low for shield and they're taking damage very oftenly. So having 2 more health is a great way to increase their survivability by just that teeny little bit that might last you throughout the entire run. And as I stated before, having 2 more health adds a gigantic boost to your confidence level. If you're confident, you might be able to dodge more bullets and take less damage, and you will be more confident and you'll take less damage. It's basically a cycle that is for the goods. But if you have low health, you might struggle and hit some bullets. So I would say those 2 additional health points is definitely much better than coffee, because coffee just adds so little to your attack damage, but health buff can give you a lot more than just 2 health. If you see it in a bartender's shop, buy it with all your money. I wouldn't say it's the best drink ever, although it's still low on the tier list, but it's pretty good. It's 2 more health, who doesn't want that? And if you really want to start your run with a good drink, I would say wine is a little bit on the less powered side, so I would say swap it out for something else. Coming in our 4th place, still in the B tier, we got Bloody Mary. There's currently only 2 drinks that have a buff to your weapons. It's coffee and Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary adds 10% of crit chance to your weapons. If you do some calculation, actually 10% crit chance is much better than 8% speed. And a giant factor, apart from damage, a giant factor of crit chance is that it inflicts elemental debuffs. So basically poison, fire, freezing, stun, and all the other stuff. I don't know if there's any other stuff. Freezing and stun is literally the crucialest, I don't know if that's a word, the most crucial thing for taking down badass bosses. If you have freeze or stun debuff, it makes the run just 50% easier, which just brings it down to normal level. And also, having fire and poison debuff makes just a bit of extra damage, making this much better than coffee, since it adds more damage with the current shield buffs. It just does more damage. There's nothing really I could say about this except that choose this over coffee every single time. Do not choose coffee. Also, Bloody Mary can be associated with the crit pierce buff, making it just a bit more up the top of coffee. So if you see it at the bartender's shop, I would recommend you buy it. And if you want to start around with this drink, it's fine for normal runs, but for badass runs, there's just much better options for you to go. So let's get on with the tier list. Coming in the A tier, we have our number 3rd, that's not really how you say it, our 3rd place, we got a tea. Tea is pretty good. Tea adds an additional buff slot to your characters. There's really no explanation to this. It could be something really insane, but it could be something really bad. It could be blue shield, but it could be 50% off the shop. But overall, there's much better buffs for you to choose than to get all the other drinks. So tea is absolutely crazy. So I would say if you want to start around with tea, just get tea. Tea is pretty insane. And if you see it in a bartender shop, you're probably brain dead if you don't buy it, or you're just out of coins. But I do want to associate this drink with coconut water, which adds one more shield to your character. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah, that is basically the one more shield buff that is in the buff selection menu. So basically, you can either roll the dice to get something really good like blue shield, or something really bad with tea, or always consistently get that one more shield to make it run a lot easier. So I would definitely say our number 2 spot, coconut water, is better than tea, because coconut water is just super consistent. There's nothing wrong with it. And also, some characters have very low shield, like, you know, Rogue and Berserker. They only have 4 shield. Adding one more shield can prevent them from taking damage from all these badass attacks that normally deal 4 damage, but now they're going to deal 5 damage, so they're going to take a health off of you every single time. So I would definitely recommend coconut water over tea, but I could say these are swappable, because if you really want tea, or you're just going for, like, you know, an all-stat weapon, or like the all-buff weapons, like laser shotguns and stuff, choose tea. You'll have a better chance to get the buff you need. But if you really just want to complete runs, to do events, to just grind those gems, just use coconut water. When I'm playing games, I always go for one of these two, and I always go for coconut water over tea. And when I get coconut water, I normally just start a badass run, because I really don't care about our number 1 spot, because it's too rare. It's exceptionally rare in beverage vending machines. And our number 1 spot, that's not how you say it. Our 1st spot is, everybody knows it already. This drink is literally breaking the game, and I think Chili Room is gonna nerf it somehow. Also, anybody that has used this drink knows how overpowered this thing is. And you've guessed it, it's our high protein, well saturated Milky Boy. Milk is too strong. Milk adds an additional armor points instead of freaking shield point. You know what that means? It will reduce all damage taken by 1. So basically, if the damage was 2, you only take 1. If the damage was 1, you don't even take damage at all. If the damage was 4, you take 3, and so on. This just makes the game literally as easy as Stereo Madness in Geometry Dash. It's too good. So basically, if you have this in a normal run, it's basically, you know, you're immune to all fire and poison, because those damage are 1, and your damage reduction is 1, so it will just go out and turn into 0, which doesn't really damage you at all. So you basically have fire shield and poison shield incorporated into 1, and it doesn't even take up a buff slot. Who doesn't want that? And in badass runs, reducing 1 damage basically means bringing every single projectile in the entire game, including buff areas, down to a normal run damage scale. You know how overpowered that is? That makes badass run just a little bit more aggressive than normal runs. That just makes the game super easy for you. So if I would say, if you see this in a bartender shop, just sell everything you got on hand. I don't know what you do, just grab those coins out of thin air and just buy the thing. And if you see it in the beverage vending machine, start your freaking game. Start your game in badass, because you're gonna beat that badass mode easily. Now I'm thinking about it, having milk is basically having an invisible armor or a mech suit on you at all times, and it can be pretty crazy if you work with milk and mechs. That can make you completely invincible to 2 damage and 3 damage attacks. That is basically the craziest thing I've ever heard in Soul Knight. So that concludes our tier list. So in the totally situational spot, we got Amnesia Potion. In C tier, we got coffee and orange juice. And in B tier, we got Bloody Mara and wine. And then in A tier, we got tea and coconut water. And then in S tier, in S plus infinite tier, we got milk. So I hope you guys all enjoyed today's beverage/drink tier list video. If you liked the video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. See you next time on DRMC, and peace out.